Here we go for the final time. We are free! Ultimate contact! A terrible crash!
We're in it.
First stop of the 10th and final season of the NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series take place here at the Granddaddy Mall Daytona International Speedway, home to the Great American Race. Hello everybody and welcome here to our first event of Season 10. This is Sprint Unlimited Practice, and these drivers are certainly going to need practice here today because of a new qualifying system that has been mandated by NNSCRA as far as who is going to be starting where for this season's Sprint Unlimited. These drivers are going to be testing not only their race cars and setups today, but they're also going to be testing something else, which we will get to in just a moment, as we're looking right now at Trent Dunham in the Target Rain-X Chevrolet. Trent Dunham, for his final season in Snickers Cup, will be running for Tweenix Racing. Never before did I think I would say that, but indeed, Sega Motorsports consolidating and Trent Dunham taking a ride over with Tweenix for the final season. Trent Dunham went entirely winless last season in Snickers Cup, and he would love to be able to find victory lane. And we know Trent Dunham and his hardships at Daytona. What could it be like for him in the final Snickers Cup Series season to maybe win this season's Snickers Cup Series Daytona 500? We'll see what kind of a car he's got, as now we'll begin his first timed lap here of the day. There you see Joshua Michaels back in the BMW, Michael Norman back in the 3 Chevrolet. A lot of drivers returning to their same rides they drove last season, but there are a couple of new faces in new places, and we'll document that for you for a good portion of today's session. Already a couple of drivers laying down lap times, but those lap times only because they were behind the start-finish line based on where their pit boxes were. And one of them is actually the defending winner of this race, but we'll get to him in just a moment. We're going to jump back here. There, actually, he is right there. All right, so the number 8 of Isaac Canepa, who ended up winning this event last season. Now, this is actually a ride out of Sega Motorsports. They were able to at least keep one of the rides, one of the cars after consolidating down the business, and Canepa has been offered it for a one-race deal. Canepa drove for Sega Motorsports last season as well, driving the U.S. Army colors on his Chevrolet as he tries to look for his second straight Sprint Unlimited victory. Getting the wall there off that corner. There is Dylan Young. He'll be running the Brad Keselowski blue and white Ford for the Sprint Unlimited, and there is Dylan Poteet in the AccuDoc Solutions number 31, his final season with Tweenix Racing. Was the only one of the Tweenix drivers who did not find victory lane last year, and hasn't been to victory lane since Dover in Season 8. Stephen Pollard III back in the Volkswagen Jetta. SKF on the sponsorship of his 06. Stephen Pollard III did not win last season either, but he made it into this Sprint Unlimited as well with a victory, not a victory, but a pole position last season. And just ahead of him, there is the defending champion of this series, Brandon Gonzalez, who put Mitsubishi Lancer in championship victory lane for the first time since they debuted back in Season 8. Brandon Gonzalez with a very simple looking paint scheme, bringing back Furniture Row on the hood, an old sponsor of theirs, actually the sponsor that they had on the hood when he picked up his very first Snickers Cup Series win at Talladega Super Speedway. I think that was back in Season 4. And then on the side quarter panels, a very simple saying, because I said I would. And Brandon Gonzalez last season, before heading into Zen Joltis, he said he was going to win that championship, and he made good on his promise. Car scraping the wall again, that time Stephen Pollard III, as Cole Daly in the 88 back for another season in that 88 Nationwide Chevrolet this season. Cole Daly did not go to victory lane at all last season, and it was quite a bit of a bummer year for Hendrick Daly Motorsports because season 8, every single one of the Hendrick Daly Motorsports machines, with the exception of Cody Lamas, went to victory lane at one time or another. Last season, the only Hendrick Daly Motorsports car to go to victory lane was Kyle Matthews, and that was at Darlington. Bob Jones sitting on pit road. Bob Jones stretched out into JE Racing last season in the 27. This season, though, he's back with Michael Norman Motorsports, and he's come out right behind his teammate. Well, actually, know his teammate right there, Dougie Shears, and his other teammate, Michael Norman, currently sitting on pit road. There's Norman. And there's Kyle Matthews, the only one of the Hendrick Daly Chevrolets that won last season. Kyle Matthews right now scored 15th fastest. Actually just ran his fastest lap of the race. Chris Washer back in a BMW. There are going to be 2 BMWs this season. Both of them are in this Sprint Unlimited. Washer in the 35, a 2-time winner last season. His wins coming, I believe one was at Thornton and his other one was at Talladega Superspeedway. There's Bob Jones coming on track. Nathan Hudson. We will have a Mercedes-Benz in the field. Nathan Hudson running a BTCC, British Touring Car Series paint scheme on his number 6. And like the British Touring Car Series, he does not have a number on the sides of his machine. Instead, the sponsorship is there. As I just saw a couple drivers on pit road. There's Isaac Canepa, and there is Johnny Gardner on the pit lane. Johnny Gardner driving the number 10 this season. And there you just saw Trent Dunham flying down pit road. Now, the reason he's doing that, he did not slow down. Trent Dunham is testing for what's going to happen here for the drivers to have to qualify for this season's Sprint Unlimited. And we will be just in the moment showing you just exactly what I mean. Joshua Michaels just did the same. There's Jessica Shelton. Now Shelton's scheduled to drive the 25 for season 10, but in a one-off race here for the Sprint Unlimited as well as in the All-Star race, she'll be driving this number 94. And she just got the wall there side by side with Red Bell, former winner of this event. That's how Red Bell qualified into this race. She's actually driving the same car that she put in victory lane. And, oh, whoa, a little bit of almost some contact there between Jessica Shelton and another former winner of this event. That's Kyle Sosnowski in a one-race deal for Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise Racing. Contact as Jessica Shelton and Kyle Sosnowski get together there out of turn number 4. They're both going to be able to get it going again, but some contact there between those two as Chris Washer going to take this opportunity to, instead of driving through the smoke screen, he's going to come to pit road. There you saw about 120 as he crossed the commitment line. And a lot of drivers on pit road right now. Not surprised to see that because they're going to be testing out as we're looking at Dougie Shears in the 21. Dougie Shears drove the 21 car 2 seasons ago, and I think Jessica Shelton may have a tire down. She is riding the wall through turns 1 and 2 after that contact with Kyle Sosnowski. Dougie Shears went to victory lane one time last season for Schwab Racing, now back with Michael Norman Motorsports as the season 1 champion is going to try and get to victory lane a couple more times before the season ends. Dougie Shears and Anthony McCrory and Sean Galligan all were here in season 1, and they're going to be here in season 10. Galligan and McCrory the only 2, though, that have been in every single season since season 1. Red Bell on pit road, Kyle Matthews, Kyle Sosnowski. There's Ryan Acosta, James Qualls, Charles Jackson. Bob Jones just pulled into his pit stall. Canepa clean a lap. There's Anthony McCrory back in the Audi, the only driver for Kyotech Racing this season. And kind of a little bit of a nostalgic feel. A lot of drivers going with a bit of nostalgia here for the final season of the Snickers Cup. Anthony McCrory made his debut in Snickers Cup Series driving the number 88, sponsored by Mountain Dew and National Guard. Both those sponsors will be on his number 61 Audi during the course of this season. And right now, Anthony McCrory, 24th fastest on the track. I think he just actually came on to off of pit road. He's now getting back up to speed. A couple of teammates right behind him. That is Matthew Rodriguez in the 18, former winner of this event. And his teammate out of Gibbs Waltrip Racing, That is Tim Walsh for 15. Right now they are running 3rd for Matthew Rodriguez and 29th for Tim Walsh. There's Johnny Gardner. Right behind him, Pichu London in the 22, a former Mobile Cup Series champion. Really has not had a whole lot of success here in Snickers Cup, but this season running for TA2 Racing. See how he does in that 22 car. Oh, this is interesting. Kyle Sosnowski, Jessica Shelton, who got into each other off turn 4 just moments ago, coming off pit road together. There's Danny Wells, 3-time winner last season. Was tied with Charles Sanford for most wins in Season 9. This season coming in with the same kind of mentality, just trying to get to victory lanes. There was a spin up ahead of him. That was Matthew Rodriguez in the 18. Matthew Rodriguez spinning to the apron. Keeps it together, though. Side by side between Lyndon Wright and Charles Jackson. Lyndon Wright went to victory lane 1 time last season. That was at Watkins Glen. Charles Jackson, however, the season 6 champion, did not go to victory lane at all last season, as he tried to just avoid his teammate Matthew Rodriguez there, and now kind of gets caught up there in the wall through turns 3 and 4. Charles Jackson right now scored 9th fastest on the track. There's James Qualls. Was a 2-time winner in his rookie season in Season 8. Never went to victory lane last season, and just to kind of add insult to injury, James Qualls, he didn't find victory lane, yet he was the most consistent driver, and if we had not had any chase last season, out of 126 drivers, James Qualls would have been the overall champion. There was Joshua Michaels, back for another season in the 04 BMW. Ever since debuting in that ride, he's gone to victory lane at least once every season since Season 7. Dylan Young now coming off pit road. He's got Jacob Lawler right behind him. Dylan Young driving the white Deuce for the Sprint Unlimited, and Jacob Lawler in the Farmers Insurance number 5. Lawler did not find victory lane last season, so the former champion from Season 7 going to try and see if maybe he can pick up his 2nd career Daytona 500 here later on this week. But right now trying to qualify, or at least practice, for the Sprint Unlimited. Here comes Logan Wilson, former winner of this event, as he's coming down pit road. We've basically introduced just about everybody, so as we see Logan Wilson coming full speed down pit road into his pit stall, there you see Anthony McCurry doing the same, Pichu London doing the same. We are going to take the opportunity here. I got into a race car, into the number 52 Craftmobile, for a little bit of a testing session to show you guys exactly why these guys are coming down pit road based on the qualifying session these guys are going to go through tomorrow as far as where they're going to start in the Sprint Unlimited. So for just a moment, we're going to step aside and take a Craft inside ride in the Craftmobile. So this season, NNSCRA has mandated a brand new type of rule for qualifying for the Sprint Unlimited. And I'm going to be showing you exactly what you got to do here. Now the drivers will start off from pit road. They then can merge onto the racetrack whenever they so choose. Now they're going to have to try and get themselves as up to speed as they can at this particular track because of what's going to happen for their qualifying. Now qualifying, their time lap will not take place until they cross the start-finish line. But the unusual thing about this particular race is that their time lap will start on pit road. So we're going to come here through turns 3 and 4. And we're going to try and arc it here in turn 4, which is what you'll see a lot of drivers try and do, because they've got to now get to pit road. So you're going to hear them get off the throttle, and they are not going to have any pit road violation of how fast they come down pit lane, but they must be within the commitment cone line. They're going to come down here, and they may slam on the brakes like I'm doing here, but they got to get into their pit box. And you see, I just overshot it. That would be a disqualification. They then would have to back up to their pit box. They got to have a 4-tire pit stop. Again, I missed my pit stall there. Now they're going to go to work on giving me this 4-tire change. Now, when I crossed the start-finish line on pit road, that was when my lap time began. Alright, so we're going to end up having it just be a 2-tire here, but it will have to be a 4-tire stop for these guys. And then you just smash the throttle and try and drive away and get to the start-finish line. That is how these drivers are going to have to do it. There is no pit road speed. No pit road speed at all. So So they can come down this pit road as fast as they want to, and they will not be penalized. However, if they miss the commitment code, that results in a disqualification. Their lap time is not counted. And if they completely miss the pit stall, which I was not doing, I ended up overshooting it, but I still was able to be serviced. But if they completely overshoot the pit stall, that results in a disqualification as well, and they will have to start the rear of the field. So now we're just going to try and hug the inside to middle groove, the faster way around the track, and try and make it to the start-finish line. And now here with reaching the start-finish line at the tri-oval, thus completes our first time lap. And that's how these drivers are going to have to try and qualify their way into this Sprint Unlimited. It's going to be a very interesting scenario. It's going to be quite unique for these drivers and brand new. We'll see how they'll be able to do it. You'll see a lot of testing trying to get onto pit road taking place in this qualifying session. So there you have it. That's how this whole qualifying session for these drivers as far as the Sprint Unlimited starting lineup will be determined. Looking forward to that qualifying session taking place tomorrow. And 31 drivers that you're seeing on track here are going to be a part of it. Now, Ryan Acosta right now has the fastest lap, and I can guarantee you that is not going to be the kind of lap times you're going to see in that Sprint Unlimited qualifying session. Johnny Gardner going through the grass there. Don't know what's going on with the 10. But Ryan Acosta right now is the fastest on track, ran the fastest lap full speed around. That was a 45.188. Lyndon Wright in second. Former winner of this event, Matthew Rodriguez in third. Fourth, Sean Henley. And fifth place, that is Isaac Canepa. There's Canepa coming down to his pit stall. They're going to take that car behind the wall, get him tuned. There's Sean Henley. Now, during the break, Sean Henley was coming down pit road, so was Chris Washer, and Henley just flew by Chris Washer down pit road. I'd be surprised if that car wasn't going about 140, 145 when he reached the commitment line. Lyndon Wright, second fastest on track right now. Currently the top two spots held by Ford Fusions. And what these drivers qualify in is going to determine when they come out on track for the qualifying session. The driver that is 31st fastest or the slowest on track for this practice session will be the first one out in the qualifying session. So right now it's looking like Ryan Acosta will be the last one to qualify, and that could be beneficial to him as well because he'll be able to see everybody else. He'll be able to know what kind of lap time he's got to beat. So Ryan Acosta, Lyndon Wright, Matthew Rodriguez, these guys that have these fast qualifying run, or not qualifying runs, but practice runs here in this event, it's going to pan out pretty well for them to be able to start at the very end of the qualifying order in tomorrow's Sprint Unlimited qualifying session. There you just saw, I'm not certain if Lyndon Wright actually crossed the start-finish line before he came off pit road, but his last lap was over 3 minutes. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite that long for these drivers. Now, I will tell you, they did actually score my lap time in the Craft Onboard event when I was showing you guys how they are going to have to get around this track. And I ran a 1:29, 1 minute 29 seconds. So, we'll see. We'll see exactly what's going to be going on as far as the average lap times for these drivers, as Anthony McCurry pulls alongside of Lyndon Wright. There's a couple drivers we haven't talked about yet. There's one of them, Michael Norman in the 3. We just saw him on pit road. That's when we discussed him, but there he is. Michael Norman saying that Michael Norman Motorsports coming back with the 4 horsemen from Season 7. Some cars scraping the wall up ahead there. I thought we might have had a wreck. We've had 2 different incidents already. Matthew Rodriguez spinning off of turn number 2. Jessica Shelton, Kyle Sosnowski getting to each other off turn 4. But there's Norman. And Norman was a member of the Final 4 for the championship last season. As a matter of fact, 3 of the Final 4 from last season's championship hunt are in the Sprint Unlimited. The only one that did not have a pole position last season to get himself into this was John Cittadino. There's Matt Rod Dylan Poteet there. Joshua Michaels, Jessica Shelton getting a big run through that corner. There's Jacob Lawler. I'm trying to find one driver that I know we have not discussed yet. There's one, Sean Henley in the 57, working right now with his Tweenix Racing teammate Danny Wells. Henley right now is 4th fastest on the track. The former Snickers Cup Series champion. Right now, Danny Wells with that draft. He's now 13th fastest, but that actually was not faster than his fastest lap time. Still trying to find him. There he is, Charles Sanford, who tied Danny Wells last season with most wins in the Snickers Cup Series, that being 3. Made his way into the Final 4 and was in the hunt for the championship at Zenjoltis. Charles Sanford, one of 2 Retro Racing Enterprises drivers that are in this season's field and in the Sprint Unlimited field. Also, one other thing I should point out is 2 drivers got into today's, or this season's Sprint Unlimited based on being car owners of drivers who picked up poles last season. One of them is Jessica Shelton. She herself did not get a pole position last year, but because being the owner of Retro Racing Enterprises, she ended up qualifying her way into the season's Sprint Unlimited based on Gene Sanford's 2 poles last season. The other driver that was able to do the same thing was Charles Jackson. He didn't have a pole last season, but a driver for his team last season, Ben Braley, who did not return here in Season 10, he got a pole position last season. So Charles Jackson, as team owner, took that pole position as his ticket into this season's Sprint Unlimited. Seeing a lot of drivers sliding up here in the corners and getting into the safer barrier. Off turn 2 especially, and also off turn 4, you see Dylan Young doing it right there. I can only assume that this is because of the fact of that the sun has been beating on this racetrack all day long. There has been no cloud cover whatsoever, and so the hot conditions on track is causing slicker track conditions for these drivers, and they're carrying, I guess, a little too much speed out of the corners. Dylan Young now going to come down pit road. 125 at the commitment line for him as he almost ran to Bob Jones. That's one thing these drivers will not have to contend with, is traffic when they come down here during the qualifying sessions. There's Nathan Hudson. Right now, nobody's been able to hold a candle to Ryan Acosta's blistering 45.1. Lyndon Wright with a 45.2, and then everybody else has been 45.4s on back. Trent Dunham right now 29th fastest. So if he remains in that spot, he would be the 3rd driver to have to head out for qualifying. Jessica Shelton then would follow him. She'd be 4th out, as she is right now 28th fastest on the track. Let's actually look at the bottom of the list. And according to the monitor, the first driver to qualify in the Sprint Unlimited qualifying session would be Michael Norman, who is slowest on the track right now. Matthew Rodriguez would be 2nd. Trent Dunham 3rd, 4th Jessica Shelton, and then Nathan Hudson would be 5th. Drivers that will, according to the scoring monitor right now, be the last ones out would be Isaac Canepa, Sean Henley, Matthew Rodriguez, Lyndon Wright, and the current fastest car on track, Ryan Acosta in the 16. Side by side there between Jessica Shelton and Trent Dunham. There's Dylan Poteet, 19th fastest. Johnny Gardner, 12th fastest, as he carries too much speed through there. Going to get up into the wall off 4. Looks like both the drivers, Poteet and Gardner, are going to come to pit road this time. About 120 for Dylan Poteet. Now, the reason that Johnny Gardner has to get so far out of the throttle, I think he's about 80 miles per hour when he hit the commitment cone. He had the very first pit stall. Now, the one thing that these drivers are going to have is the fact that the pit stall they're going to have to pit in is all the way down at the very first pit stall. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the driver that has the benefit of being able to practice that the best is the driver that in this practice session has the first pit stall. And I'm not certain, but I believe that actually is Sean Henley in the 57. I'm trying to find him. He might actually be on pit road at the moment. Just coming off pit road. I believe he has the first pit stall. So he's getting more benefit than anybody else Not only is he scheduled to be the fourth to last driver in the qualifying session to head out on track, but he's got the first pit stall in this practice session, and he's able to practice just exactly when he has to get down into third, second, first gear to be able to slow down enough to get into his pit stall in that very first pit box. We have a little under 7 minutes left in this practice session, and I'm not rightly sure much is going to change. Right now, the top 10 has remained the same as it has for the past 5 minutes. Ryan Acosta, Lyndon Wright, Matthew Rodriguez, Sean Henley, Isaac Canepa, that's the top 5. Jacob Lawler is 6th. Charles Samper is in 7th. Brandon Gonzalez, the defending champ, in 8th. Joshua Michaels, 9th, and 10th is in Tim Walsh. And you notice the diversity of the manufacturers up in the top 10 as well. You got Fords in 1st and 2nd. You got Toyotas in 3rd and 10th. Chevrolets in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Mitsubishi in 8th and BMW in 9th. So it doesn't look like one manufacturer is going to have any advantage over anybody else. Alright, so Sean Henley's coming to pit road. We were staying on him on purpose. Right there, he was 125 at the commitment line. I believe he's in the very first pit stall. Oh, no, he's not. There are a couple of drivers ahead of him. Michael Norman, one of them. Looks like Tim Walsh way down here. His pit box right there. Can't tell who it is ahead of him, but then it's Kyle Matthews with the next furthest pit stall. See if we can find the 24 and see when he might come back down into pit road. Looking for Kyle Matthews. And he may actually be back behind the wall. They may be tuning up his Chevrolet. Yeah, I believe that's the case. I believe he is not on track right now. There's Charles Jackson. Gibbs Waltrip Mayonnaise Racing Toyota's looking pretty good right now as far as speed. Matthew Rodriguez in a one-race deal, 3rd fastest on the chart. Tim Walsh 10th, and right now Charles Jackson is 11th fastest. The only one of that team that's not having the best of runs right now is Kyle Sosnowski in the 11. Cole Daly just jumped his way up into the top 10 in the 88. There he is, drafting with Logan Wilson and Ryan Acosta. Daly now up to 9th, just ran his fastest lap of the race, and that just knocked out Tim Walsh out of the top 10. Well, this is a pretty tight pack of cars right here with Wilson, Acosta, and Daly. They may end up running a faster lap time this time. Let's see. At the line, that time Daly with a 45.572. Move him up to 7th. So Daly turning up the heat gear now. This will put him very far in the order, the qualifying order for tomorrow's Sprint Unlimited. So nicely done by Cole Daly, using the benefit of the draft to get himself a fast lap time. That puts him actually right behind his teammate Jacob Lawler, who has the 6th fastest lap time. So 2 Hendrick Daly Motorsports drivers up inside the top 7. Johnny Gardner going to practice his pit stop. Ryan Acosta doing the same. And just to show you how much the draft comes into play in this session, last time by was a 45.5 for Daly. This time a 46.4. So we've got pretty much 3 minutes left in this practice session. If anybody's going to make a case for themselves to start deep in the qualifying order for tomorrow's Sprint Unlimited qualifying session, they better do something quick. Nobody has been anywhere close to Lyndon Wright's lap time, so there's no way they could get anywhere close to Ryan Acosta's lap time of a 45.1. Again, like I said, these lap times are not going to reflect at all what the lap times will look like in the qualifying session. And oh, there answers my question. I thought it was Sean Henley who had the first pit box, but I believe it might be Cole Daly or Joshua Michaels who actually have the first pit stall here, and I think it actually is Daly in the 88. So Daly gets the benefit of practicing in that first pit stall before everybody else does. And there you saw, they went with a 4-tire stop there, which is what they're going to have to do. It will have to be a 4-tire stop. They cannot do 2 tires. 2-tire stop would result in a disqualification. It must be a 4-tire pit stop. And Daly going to sit on pit road here. They're going to, I think, repair a little bit of damage he might have picked up. There's James Qualls, Trent Dunham, Charles Sanford. James Qualls right now 18th fastest on track. Trent Dunham, I believe we established he was down in the low 20s. 27th now. He actually just ran his fastest lap, a 46.377. That was only good enough for 27th place. And there's Charles Sanford, who ran the 8th fastest lap of the race. Right now, though, he's over a full 2 2/10 slower than his fastest lap of this session. Right now, working with Trent Dunham. See if Trent maybe can pick up a little bit faster of a lap time this time. And that time was about a 1/10 slower, a 46.4. So it is looking like it's going to be that guy right there, Ryan Acosta in the 16, and the guy we just saw moments ago there as well, the 81 of Lyndon Wright. They will be starting 30th and 31st in the qualifying order for tomorrow's Sprint Unlimited qualifying, which could be very, very beneficial to both of those drivers. 19, 18, 17 seconds remaining in this qualifying session, or this practice session, I should say. And Pichu London just jumped up into the top 10. 9th fastest on the board. That knocks Joshua Michaels out of the top 10. So Pichu London, he'll start late in the qualifying order tomorrow as well. Nicely done for him, and this qualifying session, for the qualifying session of the Sprint Unlimited, shall we say, is over. 4 wide right there. That was interesting. A slow 4 wide, but 4 wide nonetheless. And Ryan Acosta will be starting dead last. So, the qualifying order for tomorrow's event of trying to qualify for the Sprint Unlimited will be as follows. Michael Norman will be the first one out on track, followed by Jessica Shelton, Nathan Hudson, Anthony McCurry, Trent Dunham, Kyle Sosnowski, Dougie Shears, Dylan Young, Stephen Pollard III, Kyle Matthews, Dylan Pote, Bob Jones, James Qualls, Chris Washer, Logan Wilson, Red Bell, Danny Wells, Johnny Gardner, Charles Jackson, Tim Walsh, Joshua Michaels, and then the last 10 to head out on track will be Brandon Gonzalez, Pichu London, Charles Sanford, Cole Daly, Jacob Lawler, Isaac Canepa, Sean Henley, Matthew Rodriguez, Lyndon Wright, and Ryan Acosta. It'll be interesting to see whether going out first or going out last will be the most beneficial spot in the qualifying session. But we thank you all for watching this qualifying session here. Again, if you did not get to see the lap times and everything,
to your cars.
Shut up, announcer guy. There they are in full. There is the fastest lap times given by these drivers here today in this practice session, and it sets up where they will be in the qualifying order for tomorrow's Sprint Unlimited race. So it's going to be a very unusual thing for these drivers to have to try and qualify the way that NNSCRA has mandated it for this season, but it should be awfully interesting too. Hope you guys will tune in for that. That comes up tomorrow, as we'll be seeing just exactly who will be starting on the pole position or the front row for this season's Sprint Unlimited, the final Sprint Unlimited of the Snickers Cup Series. Thank you all so much for watching today's practice session. Tune in tomorrow for the qualifying for the Sprint Unlimited. Then after that will be our final practice session for the Sprint Unlimited drivers before the Sprint Unlimited will get underway. Then after that, we've got Daytona 500 practice, Daytona 500 pole day qualifying, the Gatorade Duels, the final practice, and then the Great American Race. So a lot on tap here for the Snickers Cup Series drivers here in the final season of the Snickers Cup Series. As you've been watching production of NNSCRA, offline racing at its best. I was attacked by the Mafia and a serial killer, and I was haunted by the Jester. I died.
the sharp one! What?
Whoa!
What the fuck?
The arson.
What?
The arson.
Whoa!
Stop it, a whammy, a big whammy.
The arsonist one!
Oh, he's gonna lick your tears. You think he's good? He doesn't know you. Where are you going? Can I be